What's going on YouTube? I'm Jesse McCoa from McCoa Cuts. Today I am bringing you a low taper fade tutorial haircut, undercut on long hair such as my own. I'm going to be giving the tutorial on the sides, not the back, because my brother Chris only has his sides undercut and he just wanted a fresh little taper, so I thought I would give you guys a tutorial with that. All thanks to him, this Christmas he gifted me some Stylecraft Saber T trimmers that are going to be featured in this video. And all thanks to my girlfriend Makana for recording and filming the whole thing. I hope you guys enjoy, and thank you for watching. All right, so let's jump right into the haircut tutorial. So now what I'm doing is setting my canvas. I'm setting the highest guard. This is what I'm going to work the fade up into. It's going to be a 2-guard lever open. You can do it lever closed, which is what I like to do, but lever open leaves the fade a little bit more darker on the top, leaving the lineup crispier. After I do that, I go ahead and set my first bald guideline with my brand new Stylecraft T trimmers, the Sabers. I set that guideline at the bottom of the eyebrow and I curve it towards any crease in the ear, depending on how the hair kind of grows on their head is going to dictate how much you're going to curve that line. So you can see that how his hair grows, it doesn't need much of a curve. And then after I do that on one side, I have to go ahead and do it again on the other side. And then once I do that, I make sure it's even on both sides because I've set my bottom base guideline. So that's what I'm going to be working up with for the rest of the fade. So once I know that that guideline is set and good, then the rest of the fade will just work out. So then I go ahead with the bald shavers to remove the stubble underneath completely. And then after that, I'm going ahead right in there with my clippers now, no guard, lever completely open to set another guideline. So now you can see there's that line up top and then that bottom line that we set with our trimmers. And that's the line, that bottom line is the one we're going to erase by taking our clippers now and closing that guard completely and just attacking the bottom of that line. And then as we work up, we open that lever just a little bit more until we get to that no guard lever open at that top of the guideline. So now that I see that I've erased as much as that guideline as I can with my clippers, I'm going back in with my shavers, flipped around, and I'm just kind of flicking up and trying to erase as much of that, the bottom of that guideline as I can to get that blend from the bald shaver to the rest of that guideline. I'm trying to get that blend as seamless as possible. And then I kind of flip over to the trimmer and I use the corner to continue erasing. I'm making that blend as smooth as I can. So sometimes after you erase what you can with the trimmer, you see that you set another kind of little guideline, and that's what I go back in with my clipper to kind of erase. And now I'm going to go ahead and attack the other side, doing the same thing, no guard, lever completely open, and just setting that first guideline. And then I'm going to go ahead immediately close the lever and just start erasing that line as much as possible with my clipper. And then as you're going to see, I'm going to take my trimmers again and use my trimmers to completely erase that guideline. And as you can see, this side of his head actually fades a lot easier. And that's something to just pay attention to. When giving fades, sometimes clients' hair on one side of the head is going to grow differently than on the other side of their head. And that's just something to be aware of. You might have to take your time on one side to get that fade identical to the other side. So now I see, like I said, I have to go back on that other side and just make sure everything is smooth, just like the the other side. So now that everything is good with that guideline, I'm going to set my next guideline with the 1.5 guard lever completely closed. And then after I set that guideline, because I have a 1.5 guard lever closed, I can just open the lever to blend anything at the top of that guideline, the top of the canvas, to just completely blend the last part before that last guideline that I'm setting right here. All right, so now that I did that to this side of his head, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side of his head before I try to blend out that guideline. Just because I already have that guard on there, might as well just do the same thing to the other side. It's going to be a lot faster, not having to stop and switch guards and trying to blend that out. So I'm just going to set that guideline and then open that lever at the top of the cut to blend everything out. So now you see I take the 0.5 guard. This is the last guard you're going to need, and I start lever completely open, and now I go to the top of that guideline, and then I just work my way down as I close that lever, because you see at the very bottom of that guideline, it's just a no guard lever open, which is the equivalent to a 0.5 guard lever closed, which is what I will work down to. As you see, I close the lever here, and there's that last little bit that I'm just going to go ahead and erase with the 0.5 guard. And then I'm just kind of playing with the lever a little bit to try to get everything blended together as nice as possible. Sometimes there's some dark areas towards the corners, but I like to just kind of leave those because that really just makes the lineup pop all the more. So now I'm going to go ahead, 0.5 guard lever open, all the way to the top of that guideline and work my way down to a 0.5 lever closed on the other side. Okay, so now that I have done what I can with that 0.5 guard, and I think everything is blended, I'm going to go back in there one more time with the 1.5 and just try to detail any dark spots that I see before I go ahead and line up his C-cup and behind the ear and his vertical bars, everything. Just before I do the lineup, just making sure that that fade is smooth. So there I go again on the other side. Okay, so now that my detailing is finished, now I'm going to take my T-trimmers, whatever T-trimmers you have, you're going to take them, and you're going to start lining up those C-cups. So I like to start on the side of the head where the C-cup is the highest, because then I know that I have to take the other C-cup that high to make everything even. So I'm doing this C-cup, and then I go ahead, after I do the C-cup, I just go behind his ear and line that up. So as you can see here, I just finished that first C-cup, and now I'm going to go ahead and just line up behind his ear, making sure I curve it nicely. So the way I like to see it is that he has a C-cup in front, closest to his eye, and then he has a C-cup that's closest to his ear. So I'm making sure to curve that nicely, and honestly making sure that the lineup is as crispy as it can be will make your fade come together. And like I said before, I left those corner areas kind of darker because it makes the lineup pop just a little bit more. As you can see here towards the top of his ear, it looks real nice and crispy, even though before the lineup it was looking kind of dark. The lineup really brought it together. So now he's got some more overhang on this side of his head for the C-cup. So I'm just going ahead, knocking that down and getting it as even as possible with the other side of his head. And then after I do that, I just go ahead and attack behind the ear as well. So as you can see here, I see that that C cup is crispy, so I go and do his other C cup, the one that's near his ear, making sure to round it, making sure I get it as crispy as possible, because this is really what is going to bring the fade together all in all. Okay, so boom, once I take out those C cups and behind the ear, I'm gonna go ahead and just line up his corners and vertical bars. So he likes to leave his baby hairs, but he has a little tapered lineup underneath those baby hairs that he usually lines up on himself. So that's what I'm going ahead and just doing. So lineups are mostly preference. Some people like the complete tapered line, but here he just likes the corners and his vertical bars, leaving those baby hairs and just trying to preserve as much of his natural lineup as possible. And then I'm gonna go ahead with the straight razor to just make that line as crispy as possible. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that on his C cups and behind the ear as well. And then once I'm done with that lineup, that's that last step. And here is the final result.